What's up, everybody? My name is Vincent. Welcome to Cryptolution, where we talk about everything under the moon in the crypto universe. Today's Wednesday, November 19th. Now, today's dog video, I want to talk to you about what's going on in the crypto market. You may be noticing that dog is down 11% at around 118 million market cap, but also Bitcoin's price went down 4 to 5% over the past 24 hours, now at $88,000 at the time of this recording. Now, this suppression in the entire crypto market, I believe, is on purpose by big entities such as centralized exchanges and, most importantly, hedge funds. Now, why are they doing this? Well, I want to share with you that the reason they're possibly doing this is because they want to transfer the wealth of short-term holders that cannot hold their bags to long-term conviction players. All the data that I'm going to share with you is the inconsistencies that we've seen in this cycle than what we've seen in the past 3 cycles that we've had within crypto. This is very new, and I think the reason that they're doing this is because they really want to shake you out of your bags, because they know that a bull market is just right around the corner. And everything that you think about Bitcoin dominance and altcoin season, I want you to throw that out the door and just pay attention to what I'm sharing with you, because this could be eye-opening. So let's get right into it. Smash the like button, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to join us on X. Please be careful with any of the scammers down in the comments below. I'll never reach out via WhatsApp, Telegram, direct messaging, or email, so please be careful and invest safely. Guys and girls, let's get right into it. Now, as of this morning, a representative from the White House just said that the October CPI, aka the Consumer Price Index, and the job data that was expected to release as of today will not be released because due to the government shutdown. And now that the government shutdown has been reopened, we still don't have that data. And so the Federal Reserve is not really given a green light to determine what they're going to do next. So there has been some updates regarding the Fed rate cut in December, that right now there is less likely a chance that there will not be a 25 basis point rate cut. Now, what that has done is sent Bitcoin going down. As you can see, it went from $92,000 to $88,000 at the time of this recording. So obviously, the whole entire crypto market is in capitulation mode. Now, something that I want to share with you is that 88,000 is exactly the level that we saw back in March of this year. So as the Wolf of Wall Street says, this could be a great opportunity to buy Bitcoin or long the position if you believe in Bitcoin going back up. But who's suppressing the price? Guess what? Is none other than Binance. So Binance right now is showing the largest liquidation in terms of anything, in terms of Bitcoin, in terms of Ethereum. They are the largest sellers right now by a long margin. And then second in line is Bybit. And then after that, it's Hyperliquid and then OKX. But Binance is using Wintermute to liquidate the market on purpose. And also a big hedge fund, BlackRock, just sold more than ever, roughly $520 million worth of Bitcoin. And I don't think this is a coincidence. Listen, this could be their clients that want to sell their Bitcoin holdings. Maybe they're seeing the market they want to sell. But I think this is all orchestrated. Now, when you look at the overall meme coin market, what are we seeing? Major capitulation. Look at Pudgy Penguins down 10%. Remember, this used to be at around 0.044. It's now 0.011. That's a huge capitulation. This used to be over $2 billion, now at $700 million market cap. Look at SPX 6900. This used to be at around $1.80, ladies and gentlemen. Now it's at 47 cents. This used to have a market cap of 1.5 billion, now down to 443 million. So when I go down to Dog Bitcoin, it's the exact same way, where it's capitulated just like the rest of the market. Now, I want to share with you some inconsistencies regarding this cycle. And this is shout out to Lark Davis if you haven't seen his recent video. But look at the previous cycles that we had before, the recent 2. So if you look at 2021, we saw the altcoin market happen. And back in 2017, we saw another altcoin season. And when altcoin season happens, we see Bitcoin dominance drop. But we're not seeing it here, which is very inconsistent. And what's also really weird about this specific bull run, this specific cycle, if you don't remember, we actually hit a new all-time high before the Bitcoin halving in 2024. And that's the first time that we've ever seen that happen. And that already is inconsistent. But what else is new? If you pay attention, 1.5 years after a Bitcoin halving, we usually see a huge green candle for Bitcoin's price, which is what these arrows are. But we're not seeing it here on this specific yearly candle. And another thing I want to share with you is the M2 money supply, which people have been comparing, the M2 money supply globally compared to Bitcoin's price, which seems to be heavily correlated until we saw a decoupling back in June of 2025. Well, global M2 money supply was rising, but Bitcoin was actually going down. But here's the most interesting thing. Look at this specific chart what we're seeing is a distribution of Bitcoin over time. Now notice something. The first 3 cycles, aka the first 3 rallies for Bitcoin's price, notice that retail was mainly the people that was driving the price of Bitcoin during that time. But ever since in 2021, we started seeing more ETFs, exchanges, public companies, and governments started to garner more exposure to Bitcoin on their portfolios. Now look at as of today, the majority of Bitcoin holdings right now are ETFs and other hedge funds. But nonetheless, there is a huge increase of these bigger smart players and entities right now. So what I've noticed is that this recent bull run that we've actually seen for Bitcoin, especially that it reached a new all-time high here in 2024, this was all motivated by big hedge funds, by big players. This is not retail that we've been seeing. And also, look at the ISM model, okay? This is the ISM model and how it's correlated with Bitcoin's price. Notice that Bitcoin right now has kind of been hesitant lately ever since the beginning of 2024. It's been trading sideways. Now, the reason this is important is because if you look at this specific diagram, the ISM model in correlation to Bitcoin's price, what have you noticed? Every time we see a spike in the ISM model, which is the blue line, the Bitcoin price spikes with it. You can see it right over here, right over here, and right over here. And we saw that COVID pandemic happen right over here. And then we saw a huge injection of the ISM model business cycle in correlation to Bitcoin's price. But like I said, in 2024, we actually haven't seen Bitcoin break out to the upside. And why is that? The reason we haven't seen Bitcoin break out to the upside is because we haven't seen retail, aka the business cycle, aka the ISM model, which determines kind of the mentality of the retail investors, right? We haven't seen much incentive for us to buy into Bitcoin's price. So if you're wondering why Bitcoin's price has been going up, it's mainly due to the hedge funds, to the powerful players. These are the big entities that have been driving Bitcoin's price up. Retail is not here just yet, and that's why you haven't seen euphoria just yet. Now, before we move on, I just want to give a quick shout out to the Kraken team. Now, this will relate to Dog, and I will mention that in just a little bit. Now, Kraken just raised roughly around $800 million from Citadel, and they are potentially predicting that Kraken is valued at a $5 billion valuation, which is actually quite exciting. So this is just the top tier 1 exchange, at least one of them in the US that's building right now. And also, I want to add on that Kraken FX officially filed for an IPO with their Form S1 that was submitted to the SEC as of today. This was confidential, this may have leaked, but this is happening right now. And also their other app, which is called the Crack app, it's kind of like a way to send funds and receive funds really quickly. Well, guess what? They're going to come out with a card very soon, and they actually featured one of the Dog Army members, and possibly Dog could be featured within that specific card. So that'd be pretty exciting if you could pay with anything. If you pay for a cup of coffee, if you could send funds to somebody, or if you could buy a specific item with Dog, that would be a game changer. So the reason this is very beneficial for Dog is because Dog is on Kraken. And I think that when Kraken starts to build more and more, and you see that Kraken's building Bitcoin meme coin bundles, they're going to be at the forefront of putting Bitcoin meme coins on mainstream, and they have a big marketing budget. And you've seen what they've done with the Kraken F1 car. The Dog was featured on the rear wing. I mean, this is just the very beginning. So when I'm looking at the market right now, ladies and gentlemen, this is complete market manipulation. They want you to sell your bags. This is basically Binance, market makers, and hedge funds on purpose for over a year now that's trying to tell you that Bitcoin's no longer going to go up. But why is the global M2 money supply going up? Why is the ISM model going up? Why did we reach a new all-time high before the Bitcoin halving? Everything about this cycle, clear as day, is very different from all the other 3 cycles. So I believe that we're no longer in a 4-year cycle narrative. So if people say like the end of the cycle is going to end by December, I think they want you to believe that, right? As you can see, with the December rate cut possibly not happening, I think that actually could be a very bullish event, because the last 2 rate cuts that we had in October and September sent the price of Bitcoin and especially meme coins going down. So maybe for the very first time, with no rate cut happening on December 10th, maybe that's actually the time that everything reverses. So right now you could see a big test of Bitcoin's price going down until then. And so you will be shaken out. So all I can really say is right now with either Bitcoin or even especially Dog, I think either just hodl or accumulate. Do not sell at these moments, because I think what they want you to do is sell everything that you have and make you go into stable coins. And that's why we see a huge record volume of stable coins on reserves on all these exchanges at over $73 billion, which is the largest that we've seen in over 3 years. That's sitting on the sidelines, and at any moment they're going to deploy that all at once, not just within over a week. I'm talking about all at once. It could happen within a day, where everything could experience a short squeeze. And I guarantee you, all the leverage traders out there across all cryptocurrencies are shorting everything. If everybody's shorting the market, what do you think is going to happen? That short squeeze is going to happen, and the short leverage traders are going to be liquidated. But the most important question is, when is that going to happen? Well, I'm not going to fall for what's going in the market right now. I'm going to hodl my bags. I'm not going to be afraid of what I'm seeing in the price, because price is just price. But what I've just shared with you in the data is that this cycle is inconsistent with the other previous cycles, and everything that we're seeing is completely brand new. So don't fall for what Binance and these hedge funds are doing, because what they're saying on the sidelines is that the market's going down, but don't pay attention to what they say. Pay attention to what they do. And what they're doing is obviously very fishy in my personal opinion. So with that said, let me know your thoughts down below, and I cannot wait to read them. Smash up that like button, subscribe to the channel. Don't forget to join us on X to receive all of our alpha calls and updates regarding Dog and Moon. Till then, see you guys girls next time.